I'm still reeling because I wasn't expecting any of it, and it's shocking. Like, it feels like magic.
Yeah, I'm worried people aren't going to believe us. We are back with our week 2 results. So every 2 weeks, we're doing measurements. Every 4th week, we're doing pictures. So we started day 1, took our measurements, took our pictures, took our weight, checked in just now for the end of week 2. And I don't know, these blew my mind. We're about to tell them to you, but what do you
I'm still reeling because I wasn't expecting any of it, and it's shocking. Like, it feels like magic.
Yeah, I'm worried people aren't going to believe us when we, like, I looked at these results, I barely believe them. Like, we measured things twice sometimes.
Right. I got back on the scale a second time. Like, this can't be right. This is not supposed to happen.
Right. Okay. So this is what's not supposed to happen. So we weighed in at the end of week 2. Baby, you were down 7 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, 7 pounds down.
That's a lot of weight.
It's 5% of what you weighed when we started.
Yes.
You're down 5%.
Yes.
I am down 9 pounds after the first 2 weeks, which was not my intention. Luckily for me, that's only a little over 3% of what I weigh.
Yes.
But like, these are big drops.
I think why they're so big, though, is nothing else has changed.
In terms of our food, in terms of our bodies.
Right. Like, that stuff's changing, but I mean, the rest of life isn't changing.
Agreed.
Nothing.
So before we hit you with what Carrie means, like what she's talking about with nothing changing, let me give you a little context for the rest of the results. So Carrie's down 7 pounds. I'm down 9. Carrie's waist was down significantly, and her legs, which is a priority for her to grow,
yes,
are up. For me, my chest and arms were up a little bit. Waist was obviously down significantly. But while dropping pounds, while she dropped 7 pounds, she built muscle in the area she wanted it. While I dropped 9 pounds, I continued building muscle in the areas I wanted it. It's like, but 7 and 9 pounds over 2 weeks is bonkers. And even more bonkers with what Carrie just said. We haven't changed what we're doing. So what do you mean when you say that? Because obviously we've changed to organic.
Right.
We're talking about that.
Food sources have changed, but for me, for you, it's not, there wasn't an increase in cardio or an increase in how many times we were at the gym. Everything else is static. The only thing that's changed is the source from which we're getting our food. And straight up to unprocessed food before to it still being unprocessed food now, but it's organic. And what I mean by that is, if I had to, because we were having this conversation, because I'm trying to figure this out, because I don't understand. This doesn't seem like this should be happening. And again, I didn't enter this as a weight loss strategy. I'm trying to grow. So
me too.
That's a little bit alarming. And the measurements help. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's not always a good idea to rely on the scale, because 7 pounds would be a lot off my frame, especially when there's areas where I'm trying to build muscle. But the weight is coming off in areas where it would be ideal to come off. And an area that I struggle in, even to maintain weight, when I've had to get ready for a show before, my legs get thin. So the idea that my legs not only just stayed the same, but grew a little bit was huge. A huge indication as to what's happening with the weight coming off.
While dropping weight, while your waist is getting smaller, in training, the holy grail idea is that you're going to get leaner while you build muscle, which is possible, has been scientifically proven to be possible. But it is the holy grail of putting together a diet and a training program and all that kind of stuff, where you can simultaneously build the areas you want and drop the fat you don't want. And this is happening. And it's happening because we talked about this in our last video. We showed you our daily diet. Our daily diet hasn't changed. And even more than that, when we talked about in that video, our macros, so the amount of calories we eat every day, and even how those calories are broken up between protein, carbs, and fats, hasn't changed. So we're looking at 5% weight loss in two weeks and just over 3% weight loss in 2 weeks on the same calories, same amount of protein, same amount of carbs, same amount of fats, and almost identical foods. Like we were talking about this a couple minutes ago. What if somebody were to watch you a month ago and last week? What would be the differences in terms of what you put in your body?
Not a lot, to be honest. And so as I'm trying to rack my brain as to, okay, like where are these pieces fitting together or what's missing? If I were to look at my diet 4 weeks ago before we switched everything to organic and consider, okay, like what processed foods did I actually eat? Because I talk about, well, eating whole foods, but when I say that, I actually mean that I ate very little that came from a package or had an ingredient list. So for instance, my protein powder obviously has an ingredient list, but I've continued to use the same protein powder. Mm-hmm. The only processed things that I've cut out, sadly, is the raspberry water flavor, which is getting easier to deal with. So water flavor would have been something that was in my diet. Salad dressing when I had salad and chicken or tuna for lunch. Sugar-free jam on my rice cake in the evening, which is just straight up peanut butter now. And when I talked about having a latte, again, because I was so cognizant of always tracking my macros, that was built into my macros. So it wasn't like a treat, and it wasn't one of the, delicious 500 calorie dessert drinks, which I always think look tasty, but it was almond milk and sugar-free cinnamon dolce syrup and lots of espresso. So I'm not even peeling back food labels that were full of ingredient lists that would explain, okay, maybe my body was storing or holding on to, I don't know, sodium or other things that it didn't need. Like it's the exact same diet minus those 3 or 4 things that I would consider processed.
That's what makes this so ridiculous. Like we didn't go from a bunch of stuff that comes in a package or pre-made meals or takeout unless we were doing a date night once a week, until everything shut down. Right. But we didn't cut out or change our food sources drastically. We went from, I would alternate between having barbecue sauce on ground beef and rice and veggies and then salsa one night to now it's salsa every night. These are the types of changes we made. Or instead of drinking 3 to 4 liters of water a day with raspberry water flavor in it, it's some fresh squeezed lemon.
Yes.
And that's it. Our calories are the same. Our training is the same. Our water is the same. And even within those calories, and like I said, I don't think we can overstate this enough. The amount of protein we're eating, the amount of carbs, the amount of fats, and even the food choices we're making are identical or nearly identical. The burrito bowls that we have most nights of the week for dinner
are the same. It's just grass-fed beef now instead of the beef that was on sale at whatever grocery store we were going to. The lettuce is organic. The salsa is organic. I don't know how to explain it. It's alarming. And I'm going to have to reevaluate how much food I'm eating.
Yeah. So now we're both kind of looking at this going like this. We've been consistent with our eating for so long.
Yeah.
We've been consistent with our amount of protein for so long, our water for so long, all of these things for so long. And this is changing the rules. I've been eating the same number of calories for months. And now I'm still eating that number of calories. And I've lost over 3% of my body weight.
Which is not what you wanted.
No.
You started, I don't know, how many weeks ago was that? Okay, I'm committed to, I'm going to put on weight. And now.
Everything I was gaining has disappeared. But while that's happening, my chest and my arms have gotten bigger.
So it's not coming from the places that you were trying to grow. And I think that's what's most alarming for me. Typically, if I've been on purpose trying to lose weight, it's coming from the areas that I don't want it to. It's not coming from my waist. Everything else is just starting to look skinny. And I don't want that. So I think that's why the weight loss, when we stepped on the scale first before doing the measurements, I'm like, oh God, this was a bad idea.
Yeah, when we got off the scale, because we did our weight first, and then we grabbed the tape measure, and I got off the scale, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be fine. hold it together. When Carrie leaves the bathroom, you can cry over how your arms are starting to look like pasta noodles. And then we can scrap this whole stupid organic thing and never speak of this again. But
it didn't. And I was nervous. I was like, 7 pounds, like that's 5%. That's a lot of weight. This is not going to lead to better training or a better physique if I continue on this path. But waist smaller, legs up, arms the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's absolutely bananas. Everything in terms of, because we can talk about health, we can talk about digestion, we can talk about all of that. There are points in my life, and maybe there still are points in my life, where I would eat dog poop if it made me look the way I wanted, lift the weights I wanted. Like, health is neat. Health is a function for me of everything else. I put gas in my car, not because I like fueling up the car. I like being able to drive places.
Right.
I eat the way I eat because I want my body to look and perform a certain way. And it's super cool to me. There's a bunch of potential health benefits to how we're eating now. But I can't believe it's accelerating my ability to do the things I care about.
No.
I'm not supposed to drop 9 pounds and have my arms get bigger.
No.
That's not supposed to be how it works.
That's not the science. But even that, in the gym, none of my weights have gone down. I've actually either added weight or reps. I'm not feeling like I just dropped 7 pounds in 2 weeks. Like, I'm not feeling tanked. And when I was saying I was hungry last time, I'm legitimately hungry, but then I'm also eating more, which I'm going to have to, like I said, re-examine this week, because the intention is not to
disappear into nothing. Like, I'm going to be wearing this shirt at the end of 2 more weeks if this keeps going.
Yeah.
So
a cheat meal is in the future.
In the near future.
I hate the word cheat meal, but I got to eat some more food.
Yeah, in this case, people call cheat meals a refeed sometimes because it makes it sound better. But literally, that might be what this is, so we don't disappear into nothing.
Yes.
But for real, I've repeated this twice. We've been talking about it since we got off the scale.
We haven't stopped talking about it because I don't know how to explain it. And again, I think there's lots of, ideas out there floating around, but this isn't a weight loss because I started drinking more water. I drank 4 liters before. I'm drinking 4 liters now. This isn't a weight loss because I'm cutting sodium. I salt my food. Like, salt it for real.
And the protein, carbs, and fats are the same.
The same.
The food choices, 99%, same. Amount of water, same. Calories, same. Protein, same. Carbs, same. Fats, same. Bodies, not same.
Not the same.
Not the same. Different.
Exact same food.
Food same, body different.
Body different. And the only thing I can attribute that to is the sources we're getting the food from. I don't know.
It's the only variable we've changed, because our recovery, same.
Yeah.
Our daily schedule, same. Sleep, same. Training, same. Speaking of.
Yes.
It's almost time for us to hit the gym. Do you think they'd like to come and see what we do in the gym?
They should come. It's fun.
I think it is a lot of fun. Okay, so we're going to hit the gym. We're going to bring you with us. We're going to show you what our full week of training looks like. And that's another thing, and I've said the same like 18 times on this video so far. That's another thing that stayed the same. We're continuing to push our weights and reps and all that kind of stuff forward, but we haven't changed our program.
Nope, same amount of lifting sessions, which we won't make you watch all of them.
Right. We're going to give you a highlight of what our week looked like, or what our week looks like. Close enough.
Yeah.
We're going to show you what our week looks like, and this is the routine we've been running this entire time.
Nothing's changed.
And ran prior to this. We've been running this program for months now.
Yeah.
So it's not like we switched that to start this off either. That program has been our program.
But that was also deliberate in this. And I think that's why, and you're probably getting tired of us saying it over and over, but that's why everything else stayed the same. Because if we truly wanted to investigate, does this organic deal make a difference? Everything else had to stay the same so that we could actually monitor what was effective.
And so that's what we're doing so far. We're going to hit the gym. Come with us, see what you think, and we'll show you the program's the same.
Sounds good.
Let's go. Okay, we are at the gym and excited to break down for you what our training routine looks like right now and what it's looked like coming into this. So even prior to the organic experiment, we've been following this routine. We're going to continue that all the way through because like we talked about, we want to maintain our variables.
Yes.
Now, one thing you need to be aware of that is super weird.
No. We start our training week on a Saturday.
That's the super weird thing.
For a variety of reasons.
I don't understand them, but that is what we do. We start our training week on Saturday because Carrie says so.
Well, one of the reasons it starts on a Saturday is it always starts with legs, and I need that to be one of the first days out of my training cycle for the week, done and over with, when I have no other big responsibilities.
So obviously it's a peculiar psychological trick, but nonetheless, we start our training day on Saturday, and baby, what do we do on day one?
Legs.
Legs. So on Saturday, we train legs together. I think it's kind of fun.
It is. You're way better at leg day.
I have a lot of legs left over from strongman. I don't have to try too hard for legs. Like I'm kind of just cruising and they're there.
Yeah, they're my weak point.
Okay, so Saturday, legs. And actually, we should probably back up a little bit. How many exercises are we doing every day and what's our typical day look like? Because it's about the same every training day of the week. We do different focuses, but our workout is pretty much the same.
Generally about 5 different movements, anywhere from 4 to 5 working sets, and at least 2 or 3 of those movements have drop sets.
Okay, so a drop set is where when you finish a set, so let's say you're doing 10 reps, you would do 10 reps, immediately drop the weight, hence drop set, and start going again immediately. So let's say you're doing dumbbell curl and you do 10 pounds 10 times, you drop that to 5 and go again right away. So 3 of our exercises every day typically have a drop set on them. About 5 exercises per body part, somewhere depending on the exercise between 10 and 15 reps per exercise or per set.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Saturday. Day 2, Sunday. What do we do on Sunday?
Shoulders.
Now this is a fun one. My first shoulder day working with Carrie, coming out of a strength background. I'm gonna save the full story for another time, I promise. But it was horrible, I almost died.
You didn't almost die.
You're gonna see me on the news with how many exercises we did and how many types of lateral raises, but I'll save that story, I promise. But day 2 is shoulders, same deal. 4 to 5 exercises, about 5 sets each, 2 to 3 drop sets.
Yeah.
Okay, Monday. What happens Monday? Monday's a good day.
It's a rest day.
Yeah, Monday's a rest day.
So we do something, but not in the gym per se.
100%.
Tuesday,
I always get the days mixed up. I'm really bad at this.
it's back day.
Back day. I knew that. I knew it was back day. Tuesday we do back, and again, that's together. We do a back workout together. Same deal. Wednesday. This is where I start to get lost.
Yeah, I'm back to legs.
Okay.
It's something I train twice a week.
So if you're back to doing legs, I'm on arms.
Yes.
Okay.
I work my arms in on 2 different leg days.
Okay. So we've got leg day again on Wednesday, arms for me, and now we're on Thursday, which is chest for me. I do chest on Thursday. I know this.
Good for you.
And you.
I do shoulders again.
And shoulders again. And then we're back to Friday, which should be day 5, but is day 7.
So rude.
And Friday is again a rest day. So like Carrie said, we do something active on rest days, but we take that off. But that's how our routine has looked for months prior to this, and we've maintained it all the way through the experiment so far, and will until the end.
Yes, consistent in the same amount of training and volume, just so that, again, our results aren't being skewed by something other than what we were really trying to focus on, which was eating organic.
And that is our routine. See them back at home?
Yes.
See you back at home. Okay, so this week's food for thought. So every week we're going to be covering the most common question that we get throughout the week. And this week, the most common question, piece of feedback we got was, yeah, it's great you guys are doing that. I couldn't follow a diet like this because I can't eat the same foods over and over and over again. And I'm sure training for bodybuilding contests, following a diet for years and years, you've heard that a ton.
Yeah, and I think it caused us to have some conversation about that idea in terms of how we eat and how that's perceived by people we know or the public in general. And we actually ended up having quite a comical conversation about what traditional eating looks like for most people. And it's really, I don't think, that much different than how we eat. And I think the idea that we came up with was, if people actually paid attention to, for a week, what are you typically eating for breakfast and for lunch? And maybe there's more variance with dinner, but I think people would be surprised.
So I completely agree, obviously. So when we were talking about this, obviously working as a coach, I see people's food logs constantly. I have new conversations with people all the time from multiple countries about what they're eating usually. And Carrie, being someone who's in shape and has been in shape for a long time, and people know has competed in bodybuilding shows, they talk to her about her diet. I think both of us have this understanding, and I have the actual documented evidence of it, that the vast majority of people, likely you, likely no different than us, eat pretty much the same few things all the time.
Yeah, there's probably 2, 3, 4 maybe breakfasts you're cycling through. Likely the same for lunch. It's the same sandwich or same salad or same drive-through you're hitting. And I think it just looks different when we're specifically tracking it, or even like last week in the episode where we kind of walked you through what a day of eating looks like. And it's not exactly the same protein, same vegetable, same smoothie flavor every day, but they are typically the same general meals.
And so Carrie mentioning drive-thrus, that's a perfect example. Because the average person I'm talking to, when I'm talking to somebody who's trying to get into fitness and start losing a little bit of weight, being a little bit healthier, I'm like, okay, what do you normally eat today? They're like, I don't know, it kind of varies. I'm like, cool. What are the last 5 days? In the last 5 days, what have you eaten for breakfast? They go, well, Monday, I picked up a coffee and a donut. Tuesday, coffee and a muffin. Wednesday, coffee. Thursday, coffee and a muffin. Friday, I got a little crazy, went coffee and a bagel. Or they hit Subway one day for lunch, then a pita place one day for lunch, then a Subway again. I think the perception of following a diet is very often, it's the fear of structure, not the actual fear of variety of food. Because if we're sitting down, we're planning dinner, and we go, okay, we need a healthy carb source, we need a veggie, and we need some type of protein. That's a pretty big spectrum. I don't know how many other categories of food you can play with in that to mix something together that would be new or different.
Right. And I think those are, you rotate through those, but I think you do that with everything.
So I guess this is an answer, non-answer to, what advice would you have for somebody who wants to follow a diet, but can't eat the same things every day like you and Carrie do?
I think you already are eating the same things every day-ish, and you're just not aware of it, or you're not thinking of it in the same terms of what our diet ends up looking like versus what your actual diet ends up looking like.
100%. You don't plan it in advance the way we do, but you still end up with the same few things that you rotate through, which is completely normal. That's how human beings operate. If we didn't have consistent habits and patterns, we probably wouldn't function very well at all.
No, that's why we're creatures of habit. You have your favorite go-to places, or you have your favorite breakfasts, and you stick to them because you enjoy them and they're convenient and you know them.
100%. So that is our food for thought this week. If you have questions you want us to cover in the next one, you can drop them below or fire either of us a message. And I think that's it, baby.
We'll do our best.